And we're live every day at noon. I am just going to go ahead and go live on Instagram. I gotta make a face for Instagram every time because it saves the thumbnail. And welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me. I'm Aristotle Full Throttle, and you're you, and I'm glad that you are. Today, we're going to talk about the future of black heroes in cinema, because we talk about movies, but we also talk about what's going on in the world, because it's important. It's important to combine and to exercise the using critical thinking and empathy on account of the fact that art is always, and should be, good art anyway, a reflection of the times that you're in. Another way of looking at things. A new angle, a prism of reality in which you could appreciate the deeper meanings, or at least assign deeper meanings to your reality. How's that sound? Sound pretty good? I think so. I don't want to go down one of those Trump tunnels. I was actually doing an experiment. I was listening to my own show the other day because I was like, what the hell am I saying? I want to hear what the heck I'm saying. I want to hear what I'm talking about. So I was, and there are some times where I do the thing where I don't have a thought in my head, so I continue to talk. And then what happens is I sound like Trump in those moments. So I can verify for you firsthand that whenever Trump is talking, he doesn't have a thought in his head. Because that's what happens when you don't have a thought in your head. That's how you sound. Well, thankfully, we have a president just like that. I hope you have a mug, have your own drink of choice, coffee, maybe water. If you're doing that, if you're juicing, you can have some juice. Have a nice juice, won't you? You guys are fantastic. I appreciate you every day joining me here. Tatiana's over there. We've got Tahid Yargwin. Welcome. Thank you for the wavy wave. I am a fan. I hope you all had a good weekend too. I did. I had an excellent weekend. However, there was a moment that I have sheer alarm and panic that I had this weekend. And it wasn't because of anything, well, maybe it was an emergency. I was looking around at the people that I was encountering because I was in Redondo Beach for a little bit because I wanted to go see the beach. I wanted to see the people. I wanted to see what's going on. I didn't want to see the people, actually. Frankly, I did not want to see people out. But there were lots of people out. There were people everywhere. And I was like, well, at least only 25% of them are wearing masks. I had my whole face bound up in like a bandage. I looked like the mummy when I go out. I try to protect other people, because when you're wearing a mask, ladies and gentlemen, you're protecting the other people around you. That's the whole point of the mask. You're not protecting yourself. You're not saying look, I'm not going to catch this illness because I've got a cloth mask on. No, you're actually stopping droplets from spreading out of your mouth into someone else's mouth or eyes or nose. And people seem to have forgotten that there's an actual pandemic happening, but I think we're just kind of doing the thing right now where people are going, well, let's see what happens. Let's see how many people have to die. And if it doesn't affect me personally, well, therefore it doesn't exist. Because we live in a society right now, sadly, that does not have good empathy skills. There are 20 deaths a day, so it's rare, so they think it's over. Right, Veronica? Thank you for joining us. Yeah, it feels like well, it's summer. I should be out at the beach. I should be going around. Yes, you can do that, but guys, just be smart about it. People don't even want to care about behaving appropriately because they think that for some reason, they think that it's just, if they think it away, it should be gone. And your actions do affect other people, particularly publicly. In private, do whatever the heck you want. Wear a frying pan on your head. Make a whole mustache out of spaghetti noodles. You can do that. I encourage that you do. However, when you go out, just make sure that your frying pan doesn't hit anyone else. This is what I'm trying to tell you, everybody. This is what I'm trying to spread. Good news and practical thinking. Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about this show, And I've been developing this show over the last couple months because this show originally started, if you've been a fan for a long time, we talk about movies and we have a good time and we joke about it. I used to go to movies every week and review them, and I have lots of reviews up on my channel if you want to look at some ancient reviews. Lots of fun and love went into making those reviews, and I hope that when you're bored sometimes you can go watch them and just go, what an idiot this guy is. He's such a jackass. That would make me very happy. Of course, if you are not a fan of my show yet, and you're just stumbling upon it, hello, like my mom and my sister. Thank you for joining us. You can always subscribe to my channel on YouTube. You guys remember YouTube? This was before the TikTok times. There was a thing called YouTube where you could upload your own videos of whatever you wanted, and you still can. Before YouTube, there was a thing called iFilm. I went to film school. I went to film school. And right after my film school, there was a website called iFilm, and you could upload your student films to there, and that's where you could watch like a bunch of student films. And I think that kind of segued into YouTube, or that was the precursor. I don't know if you remember that, but that was fun. I just drank too much coffee, almost burnt my face off. I would have burned my face off, and I would have had to do a faceless show. But I was really alarmed at the fact that people don't understand that you should wear a mask to protect other people. However, the area I was driving through Redondo Beach, there were like people wearing masks. Not wearing masks, I'm sorry. There were people wearing shirts and hats that said Trump 2020. Or like American and proud of it. And I'm just like, guys, this has nothing to do with politics. It's actually everything to do with how viruses work and how math works. And guess what? They tend to work. Viruses figured out a way to hijack human behavior. And that is to say, a virus is like, it counts on the fact that humans will come in contact with each other, because that's how a virus spreads. It seems to thread that needle. It goes, hey, people, y'all are dumb. Let me be a virus. Let me use you as a host, because even though it's fairly simple to keep us from spreading us viruses, all you humans got to do is just isolate if you're feeling sick. And even if you're not feeling sick, go out with a mask on and stay 6 feet away. It's very simple. And I know some of you are like, oh, well, my mask, it's uncomfortable. You know what else is uncomfortable? A respirator. Very uncomfortable from what I hear. I don't want one. I got tested for antibodies last week. I am negative of antibodies. I have not been exposed, or at least had an infectious load of viruses. I've not been exposed to that much, so we'll see. We got to see. I want to like get out of Dodge. I want to get out of LA. I want to actually travel. I want to see places. I want to do things. I want to go to the middle of the desert where there's nobody and just hang out, look up at the stars. Well, I guess I could do that. I'll do that. Welcome, everybody. Aristotle Full Throttle here every day at noon, talking about movies today. What do you guys think? Idris Elba, next 007? Because listen, if 007 can change people, why can't he change, why can't he just be a darker British dude? He has no origin. He's like a complete man of mystery. Why couldn't 007 just be like, there's no reason why not. I think Idris Elba should be the next 007. That is my opinion. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about that? I think that's a fantastic idea. Thank you very much. You're welcome. I didn't have that idea. What's up, Angelo? Who embodies the more modern James Bond? Daniel Craig, excellent job. Probably the best James Bond as far as the full embodiment of the character, in the sense that you look at Daniel Craig and you're like, this dude, he dresses up in a suit. He looks pretty dapper, but he looks also rugged, like he could get into a fight and actually win that fight. And Idris Elba is an actual boxer. This dude actually knows how to punch faces with his fists, and he could do that. Why not? Why not Idris Elba? The ladies like him. The dudes want to be like him. That's really the secret to everything. If you're a rock and roll musician, you want to be the kind of rock and roll musician where people either want to be you or be with you in a biblical sense. I'm talking about being with, like, they want to go share an ice cream cone with you. That kind of, like, they want to go and get an egg cream at the soda joint. What do they call that? The soda fountain. It's been 100 years since people went to a soda fountain. I grew up in a town. Well, I didn't grow up in a town. I went to high school in a town that had like a soda fountain shop. Coils. Remember that place, Veronica? Down the street? Coils. Are they still there? I wonder. I could use some ice cream. It's summertime. Why not eat ice cream? Yesterday, I got a cookie. But the only place that was open was Starbucks, so I was upset. I went inside of Starbucks, but it was very cool. They were letting people in one at a time. Everyone was wearing a mask. I was trying to figure out this new world order. Trying to figure out this new way to dance around other people. But then some people just don't care. They'll just walk right up to you without a mask. Excuse me, can you take our picture? No. I don't want to take your picture in a pandemic. I want to stay healthy, and I want you to stay. I don't know why I want you to stay healthy, but I do. It's maddening, people. That is the new pickup line. I agree, Tatiana. Let's go. Why don't we go hold hands and get an egg cream? Have some coffee together. Maybe not even a coffee. Kids, like, they can't have drugs. They can't have any drugs, kids. They can't have alcohol. They can't have THC. So what do they have? They're allowed caffeine because there's no regulation on caffeine, and sugar. Kids can eat as much sugar and caffeine as they want, which is also, those are also terrible for your body in great amounts. But, you know, who cares? I'm just saying that kids like to drink coffee, and it's funny. They hang out at Starbucks and they get their little crack fix. They're like, I need coffee. I'm a 12-year-old. No, you don't. I never needed coffee until like 4 years ago. I never drank coffee. And then you just get to an age where you're like, I need coffee. You wake up one morning and you're like, hey, you know, coffee sounds like a good idea. I've never coffeed. Now I'm like a coffee guy. I'm like, give me my coffee. And on that note, you guys can support this channel and my coffee habit by going to patreon.com/Aristotle Full Throttle and sending me $1 a month. You could do that. It's actually an option you have. You can support this channel is what I'm saying. You could support these rants. What I'm trying to do here, now listen to this. Dig this, ladies and gentlemen. This is the point of the show. We want to make a better society. We also want to make art appreciating folks. People who can actually synthesize the idea that society is a reflection of art, is a reflection of society. And I like movies. And you like movies. And there are ways we could bring these all together. I majored in film and minored in psychology. And it seems to be pretty much the whole point of the show. Let's talk about people and how we relate. And how we all relate to movies, and how it relates to reality, and how we can actually create a better world if people just applied their thoughts and altered their actions accordingly. Imagine that. Oh, where's my Baby Yoda? Baby Yoda's my co-host. I'm gonna have to go get up and get my Baby Yoda. I'll be right back 1 second. I'm over here now. Look at my Baby Yoda. There's Yoda. Baby Yoda is, he's my co-host. We've gotten to the point of the show where inanimate objects become actual people in my life. No, you can see friends now, guys, but just when people do the social distancing thing, We got to figure out how to do it the right way. And every pandemic has its rules, guys. AIDS is a pandemic. HIV. At first, people were like, I can't share a sandwich with someone with AIDS. I can't be in the same room when someone's got the HIV virus. I can't do things. Certain things you can do now, we understand, that will protect you and protect others. And what we're learning about coronavirus is like, okay, well, if we're 6 feet away wearing a mask and we're outside in like an open area, the chances of spreading are very low. Though yesterday I was driving by restaurants where people were filling the restaurants and not wearing a mask. And I was just like, how is this going to work? Because they actually have done studies. I was watching these videos on these studies that they were doing about how one person had coronavirus but spread it to 12 people in a restaurant. And not just the people at their table. They were sitting at one table, and the air conditioning circulation brought their germs, their coronavirus, all around their whole restaurant. And so people sitting at tables across from them were getting infected by the one person. This is real. This is still real. It's all ethereal, but we are so stuck in a news cycle. Right? We were like, all right, now it's Black Lives Matters for 2 weeks, but guess what? We good thing yesterday we had a big rally for Pride in LA, because it's important also to remember other marginalized groups and also combined marginalized groups. That's why there's the All Black Lives Matter movement, which includes trans people, people of color who are trans, get murdered all the time just for being who they are, which is kind of nuts. That's kind of crazy, isn't that? Is it not crazy that you're just like walking down the street being yourself and then get going and some people just decide to murder you for that? That should not be a society that we live in. We should really work hard against that. It's crazy. But I think my point there is, it's like, look, Black Lives Matter, we got to rebrand it already. Not rebrand it, but like combine the movements and try to keep people's interest, because I think there's a lot of problems with people keeping their interest in something. We need a new thing. I think people are getting a little fatigued about Black Lives Matter, which is so sad. This is the thing that I was really worried about. When my friends were calling me up on the phone, hey, this is the one. We done it. We ended racism. We figured it out. It's a problem. And then you're like, wait a minute. I'm like, hey, so racism existed my whole life, but now it's going to go away? I've experienced weird prejudices and discrimination my whole life, but suddenly now it will vanish? I don't know about that. I don't know how that makes me wonder about a whole new future. It makes me rethink my existence, because this whole time I was just like tolerating it and then expecting to tolerate it for the rest of my life. And now people are telling me it's going to go away magically. I'm like, okay, well, I'm down with that, because I could deal with a reality that did not involve me thinking about the fact that I'm a big brown dude everywhere I go, and how people just randomly react to that. Because I'm not really aware of it as much in Los Angeles until I'm made to be aware of it. Until I enter a room with maybe like a certain demographic of folks. I'm talking about white people, and like, you know, I'll walk into a certain room and there might be just this instant, like, I don't even know what it is. Sometimes it's just maybe just a curiosity. Totally cool. But it's weird that you're curiously, like, you're visually like stunned by curiosity. So that's always a weird one. Another one is, I suppose, the almost like questioning why you're even there. That's a weird one. It's like, well, why are you here? Probably we're here for I don't know, I'm here for coffee. What are you here for? Were you here for a race rally? A Klan rally? Because I don't know. I'm just thirsty. They're serving up egg creams up in here. That's why I'm here. Why wouldn't I be here? Egg creams are delicious. It's like soda water and cream. There's no egg in it. That's confusing, I think. I think they should change the name to just cream. Soda cream. I don't even know what's in an egg cream. Hope it's not eggs. You can't eat raw eggs. They're definitely not scrambled. 4 cups a day, V. What are you doing with this coffee? You got to cut down to like 3.5. They drive you to drink. Your kids drive you to drink coffee. I tell you, I drink a cup of coffee, but look at the size of this cup. It's the size of my head. My face is getting smaller on account of all the hair that's encompassing it. My face is receding into my fur. I'm like a furry guy, except I don't have any other hair. It's just on my head. It's all my head. Maybe I'll cultivate my nose hairs. I don't have eyebrows. The problem is, I have to stare at my face on the Instagram, so I see it, and then I'm like, I don't have any eyebrows. Holy crap! What's going on there? What happened there? I'm like Whoopi Goldberg up in here. No eyebrows. You ever notice that? Whoopi Goldberg doesn't have eyebrows out. What happened to her eyebrows? Who took Whoopi Goldberg's eyebrows? Did she pluck them now? Did she pluck them all out or something? Whoopi, we need an explanation. You owe us an explanation. Listen, I think if we go through the world accepting what's in front of us instead of asking people to give us an explanation for it. Oh, your appearance is different than all of the people that I usually look at. Explain yourself. I think that's a ridiculous thing. My TikTok, it blew up, guys, this weekend. I had a TikTok joking about that kind of thing, and a lot of people experienced this. Tatiana, I know you mentioned how you've experienced similar things in your life where people are like, what's going on with your look? I can't understand your color palette. I cannot, some reason it's causing me a problem in which I decide to overstep my bounds and demand an explanation to satisfy my own curiosity, but have complete ill regard for your personal boundaries. A lot of people do that. It seems to be egg cream, chocolate, syrup, milk, and seltzer. And a burp at the end. Yeah. I used to get an egg cream traditionally at the end of... Well, I did the musicals. I mentioned this in high school. When I would... The beginning... It wasn't the beginning of my performing life. It was the beginning of my stage performance life, I'd say. I've been a joker my whole life. Can't help it. This is what I do. Deal with it. I don't know. I just did one of those deal with it gifs where the glasses come down on my face. So I appreciate you guys patronizing me. It really does. It does. It validates my existence, and I appreciate that. Yeah, we're about being real on this show. I just talk about what's on, like my ideas. They happen, and then I share them with you. And then I hope the same goes for you. I'd like to hear what you guys are talking about. Female thing I've seen. I don't understand it, though. I'm fine with accepting it. Don't understand it, though. Egg creams? Are you talking about egg creams? In reference to no eyebrows, I mean. Oh, okay, yeah. I remember I was so young and I saw you got shot on stage. My mom had to calm down from crying. I thought you really died. Oh, no. I did method acting. I'm still lying on that stage. It's funny that you mentioned that, Veronica, because that was a play called Witness for the Prosecution, and I played Leonard Vole, the guy who was he was accused of murder. I didn't do it, I swear. And then at the end of the show, spoiler alert, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, in case you wanted to watch Witness for the Prosecution. Which you don't. You don't. The original play, funnily enough, the original play, my wife is played by the character of my wife. Her name is Romaine, like the lettuce, except we changed it in high school. Our play director was like, I am going to take some artistic license and change your wife's name from Romaine to Christine. So I was like, sure. I mean, she was like, sure. Whatever. But at the end of the play, I turn my back on a character, and then that character pulls out a gun, a revolver, and shoots me in the back. And then I die. Except this revolver is loaded with, it would be loaded with blanks. Or at least it would have one blank and 0 in the other chambers. Or in the whatever you call it. And so I walk away, and then she shoots me in the back. But the problem is, blanks don't always work. So every night, it would be a different ending to the show and cause a different, I guess, reaction because it didn't go perfectly. And one night, like the first night, it was like, because she had to keep pulling the trigger until the gun went off. And then one night, she who was shooting me in the back at the end of the play, was just like, usually it was one or she could get the shot off on one shot. It wasn't her fault. It was just the gun and the blanks just didn't work consistently. And I don't know if it was the final night or closing night, but she was pulling the trigger. So people in the audience are watching me stand there with my back to someone with a gun clicking, going, yo, bro, turn around, knock the gun out of her hand. Because, there's just too much time passing. But I'm acting like I don't know what's going on behind me, even though I hear a gun clicking. And one night it was funny because when the lights go out, she shoots me in the back, I fall to the floor, and the lights go out, and she shot me, and then she goes, shit, because the gun didn't go off. That was Kelly. Kelly, her name was at the time Kelly Striplin. Shout out to Kelly Striplin. She played my wife in like 2 or 3 plays. We were always matched up. I think her name is Kelly Gillian now or something. But shout out to her. She's a musician, singer now, I think, and a family person. Long Island, ladies and gentlemen. Long Island. Strong Island. Point of that story is that the closing night, she pulled the trigger like 20 times, and then finally went off. I got shot, I died, and my sister cried. But afterward, I went to the Peter Pan Diner at Bay Shore and had my egg cream, because I would have an egg cream every closing night of every play, an egg cream. It was disgusting. No one ever ordered the egg cream. They would tell me that. They were like, nobody ever orders that. I'm like, I'll have the egg cream, and they're like, no, you don't. No, you don't want that. I was like, yes, I do. I want the egg cream. They're like, nobody wants that ever. Why? I was like, because nobody wants it. Nobody ever gets it. And that's why I'm going to get it, because I want that thing. Why do you have it on the menu? I'm going to test you, make sure that you can even understand. You even know how to make an egg cream, because I want to drink the egg cream. Please. So then after a while, I think they were like, oh, you're the egg cream guy, huh? All right. We're going to get you the egg cream. Fine. And then they like go down into the basement, and then they like put on gloves, and they put on goggles, and then they open a storage unit, and then they go down the storage unit, and it looks like the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark, where there's just things on shelves, maybe like pig's feet sticking out, like different kinds of things that you would never even, like an artichoke, maybe. Artichokes. Delicious, but more trouble than they're worth. And then they find at the bottom, they dust off a box. They open it up, and there's an egg cream inside, and it's glowing. I don't even know how an egg cream comes about, but it glows. And then they have to like cross the streams. They have to do all sorts of things in order to make the egg cream activate. They have to to drop a mother box into the egg cream at the right time while the Flash runs and touches it and charges it up in order to create an egg cream. This is what I think. The point is, egg creams are disgusting. I remember, you don't want one. Idris Elba would be phenomenal as 007. And I think they should get on that right now. We need an Idris Elba. Remember he had coronavirus? He's like, "Hello, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Idris Elba, and I have coronavirus, and it sucks." I remember that. Maybe I'll talk like Idris. I bet you he puts on that voice. I've seen this thing. I've noticed this thing among actors, by the way. And I try to do it myself because I'm like, if I want to be a real actor, I need to do this. I've worked on lots of sets, and I noticed when guys talk, when men talk, they talk very low with a gravelly voice because it sounds way cooler when you're doing audio. Because the mic is right here, so you don't gotta shout. Like stage acting is like, "Hello, I am projecting for the people in the back row. I wear a fro for the people in the back row, so that you can see me move about the stage," and then you shout. However, when you're an actor, you talk like this. Every line you say has to be gravelly. I'm Idris Elba. "Hello, we're canceling the apocalypse. Look at me. I'm Chris Hemsworth. And hello, I talk like this. Hey, you're the Hulk. How about that?" Everybody, it's just so funny. It's just the way, like, it's not hard to do, I guess, if you're a man, or if you have lots of male hormones or large Adam's apple. You could just bring your Adam's apple down here. I do voiceover work sometimes, so I like listen to all the little weird things that people do with their voices, and actors tend to do that. If you've ever watched a movie, you'll notice people talk like this. No one ever speaks like this. You ever notice how newscasters talk? It's just so funny because no one ever talks like that. I actually met a newscaster one time, and they definitely talked like that in real life, and it's weird. When I was a kid, Angelo says, "I always thought they spoke like that because they're tired of working so much on movies." Yeah, they are long days. It's interesting. They are very long days, and I have to say, when I first started like getting parts in commercials and stuff, it's pretty tiring though. When you're an actor, listen, I'm not complaining. When you get the part and you're an actor, you're excited to be on set, you're excited to work, you're excited to be there. And you get so cushy, you get to chill in your sometimes they'll just give you a seat inside of a little box, and you get your own, it's like your own trailer, but it's like little tiny compartments of a trailer. It's pretty much, you get your own like changing room sometimes, depending on the size of the thing. And then you get to just chill there all day, and they check it out. Hey, you want anything? You want some like water? Oh, hey, they're doing lunch now. You want to go get some lunch? Yeah. I don't know who that is. That would be me talking to the actors about however they, what part of the day we're at. Yeah, you just hang tight. We're going to be back here in about 90 minutes. It's probably a little bit later. We're going to have you guys up. They're just finishing up the scene right now. You're going to be up later. It's going to be cool. Yeah, just be sure that you're in your outfit. Did you get checked out with wardrobe yet? Did you make sure your hair and makeup, everything's good? Okay, cool. This is how it works on set. And, it's very mechanical, and actors don't really see what's going on set all day unless they want to, I guess, if they ask. But so when I'm doing set photography, I'm there all day on set, standing next to the cameraman, standing next to the cinematographer, the director, and the assistant director, just kind of watching how the sausage is made. And it's laborious. There's lots of labor going in. There's people moving things, there's lights being set up, there's wires being, just lots of work. But when you're an actor, you're insulated. You're in the little trailer. You're just kind of hanging out there, I guess, practicing your gravelly voice. I'm going to go out there and I'm learning my lines. But it is kind of tiring. You do get tired. When I first started doing the acting thing, I was casted in a couple of things, and I was like, it's tiring. I'm tired. I've been saying these things all day. Now I'm tired. I want to take a nap now. Thankfully, you can take a nap in your trailer, but all the other people working, they just have to keep working and keep working and keep working all day long, generally speaking. Unless you're like the third grip and you sit on the truck and you play video games on your phone or watch Netflix. I know a couple guys like that. That's on an easy day, though. Sometimes they're just working for 12 hours, so they've earned that that downtime, because sometimes it's just a slog. It's like 12 and a half hours of just moving things and carrying things and lifting things. And then when you wrap, you got to, if you're a grip, you got to load up the grip truck if you're on location. So you got to break everything down after you wrap. So you've wrapped. Now there's like another 45 minutes to an hour of just breaking stuff down before you can go home. A lot of stuff goes into movie making. It's kind of a wonder that it even is successful. It's kind of a crazy situation. It's herding cats on the head of a needle that you're threading with a, I don't know, I don't even understand an analogy that would be making movies. Movies are just weird chaos. It's a kind of crazy situation that we can even figure it out. Every movie is like, I don't know, you're inventing, you got to have everything, all of the things in the air while you're spinning plates the whole time, making sure that you don't smash any plates. Every movie smashes like 12 plates. But you know what, Angelo? It might just be they're wanting to conserve their energy. I don't want to shout. Maybe I'll talk like... Hello, I'm Chris Hemsworth. Chris Hemsworth is hilarious. He was on Jimmy Kimmel a few weeks ago, or a few years ago. I don't know. It's coronavirus. Time is ephemeral. But he was on. It's one of the coolest things, guys. Speaking of Hamdell, Idris Elba, and Chris Hemsworth, I guess they both speak that way because they're both Asgardians. Asgardians just have gravelly voices, ladies and gentlemen. But Heimdall, remember when he got killed? I was like, damn, they're going to just straight up murder people in this movie, Infinity War. That's not really a spoiler alert because it happens in like the first 3 minutes of Infinity War. I guess if you haven't seen any of the movies, he gets killed. He gets killed to death. Quick. And you're just like, wow, you go kill it off Idris Elba in the first 5 minutes? How you going to do that? I like that he sees everything. I see everything. I see you. But pretty phenomenal. He's a phenomenal actor. Guys, I started The Wire. I hear it's good. So far, so good. A lot of watching to do, though. I'm in like 2/3 through the first episode. Guess what I watched last night for the first time? Yep, he sure does get killed. Guess what I watched for the first time last night? John Wick 3. And I liked it. It's art, man. Those movies, the John Wick movies, are just art. Don't think of them. Don't even overthink of them. Just look at them and watch them and go, every shot in these movies is beautiful. It's like, it's just art, guys. It knows what it is. It's not trying to be like... John Wicks are not trying to be this revelation. What they're trying to do is do what they do, but do it like as good as you can do it. And they do. All the John Wick movies are freaking great, and they're so fun. And I was having such a good time watching that movie. I was into it. It's so rare that, because this is the trick. This is what the show is about. It's about being real, being yourself. And the John Wick movies are like, hey, y'all remember when you could just make a movie with like bad guys and there's like an internal logic and there's a guy, and if you kill someone's dog, it's amazing, guys. There is nobody on this planet, especially dog lovers, obviously, that cannot relate to John Wick and his fury, his wrath. If you mess with my dog, that's it. I'm going to take down your whole organization. And I love that. And I love that motivation. And they reiterate that motivation where he's like, it's amazing because they weren't going to kill another dog. This is a spoiler alert, okay? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. When Halle Berry shows up, and she's a badass also, can't wait to see her in the next John Wick. When Halle Berry shows up with her dogs, which were amazing, it's like lots of dog revenge in John Wick 3. And they shoot her dog. I was like, no, you better. I was so like, I was freaking out. I was like, you better. And then they showed the dog had a bulletproof vest, and you were like, okay. But I still get why she just murdered everybody after that. Because she's like, and then she says this. She's like, they shot my dog. The most perfect Keanu Reeves line ever. The most perfect Keanu Reeves line ever. She's like, they shot my dog. And John Wick goes, I get it. I died. I was like, I rewatched it. I'm like 100 times. I'm like, yes. They shot my dog. He's like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. He's like, they shot my dog. Or he says, he doesn't say it's not worth it. He says, don't do it. Because he's like, I don't do it. I'm gonna say don't do it. And I'm gonna step back and let you do it. But I'm gonna say don't do it, just so I put my 2 cents in there. But she's like, they shot my dog. He's like, I get it. Good golly, those movies are fun. Oh man, just like, and I say that because even John Wick 3, I've been saying this, I haven't even seen John Wick 3 till last night, but I was watching the John Wicks, the first 2, I was like, freaking, how perfect do these movies get? They're just perfect movies because they're stunts done by amazing stunt teams. And it's a ballet, it's a dance. These are balletic films. That is to say, they are purely taking the medium, the music, and creating a story and a dance and a flow to the art of fighting and martial arts and gun fu. Like, this is an art form, ladies and gentlemen. It is a legitimate art form, and John Wick is a ballet of gun fu. This is what it is, and it's so beautiful. I would go to see a ballet based on John Wick, and I'd been saying that for years, and then I watched John Wick 3, and they literally bring the analogy into the movie and have ballet happening in parallel sequences, where they're showing Angelica Houston's character directing the ballet while John Wick, it's legit art, guys. Good God. I don't know if you want to call it high art, unless you're smoking weed. No, I don't know if you want to call it high art, but it is definitely art. And I will fight you on that in a very balletic, choreographed way. Best part about John Wick 3, you may not have known this, Mom and Veronica, when John Wick is fighting those two dudes are very famous dudes. They're in the Raid. I have not seen the Raid yet, but I recognize them from what? From Star Wars Episode 7. Why were they in Star Wars Episode 7? Because they were in the Raid. Because the Raid is a foreign language gun fu film with, I'm going to watch it tonight. I'm going to watch the Raid movies this week. Because I know that the Raid movies are legendary, and I'm silly for not having watched them yet. But those dudes, guys, those dudes were in the Raid. I'm pretty sure about this. And that's why there was a mutual respect and an amazing fight sequence that lasted for like 10 minutes of just like American cinema being John Wick and these two dudes being from the Raid, which is a foreign language cinematic. It is legendarily the greatest fight action movie ever. The Raid 2, apparently. It's got the greatest fight scenes ever, and they took the guys and they were like, all right, we're going to put you in John Wick, because the John Wick movies, take all the best jazz musicians of gun fu and we jam. And that's what that movie was. It's like when you're going to see a concert, right? Like, let's go see I don't know, Led Zeppelin, say. And then you're watching Led Zeppelin, and then Jimi Hendrix walks out on stage and jams for one song. And you're like, okay, that's dope. That's reverence. That's cool. I'm on board for that. So that was really rad. And then it was a truce, basically. Like, John Wick technically won the fight, but notice he didn't kill those two dudes because they had respect for him. Obviously, it's a nod to the Raid movies and the John Wick movies being parallel, or at least John Wick would not exist if it were not for the Raid movies. So the fact that we're watching Enter the Dragon, essentially, or Game of Death. I think it's Game of Death. Think about it. I know that Will might know that reference. Will's not here with us today, but I'm sure he'll be on the playback and tweet at me. We can talk on Twitter. We can talk on that platform too. Leave a comment if you're watching. But shout out to Will, who's ex officio. But dig this, Will, if you're listening. I'm thinking of Enter the Dragon, or which was the Bruce Lee movie. You guys might know this too, obviously. Everybody knows Bruce Lee, watches this show. But John Wick 3 was definitely a nod to that, because he's climbing the flights of stairs until he gets to the final battle, which is pretty rad. So he's got to fight the Raid guys, and then he body slams them through glass. They all fall down. And basically, John Wick is the only guy to get up and walk away. And he's like, all right, guys, good fight. Cheers. Appreciation. Everybody just wants to fight the legendary John Wick at this point. Looking forward to John Wick 4. Comes out on the same day as Matrix 4 next year. Weird. That's going to be Keanu Reeves. You know what I like about Keanu Reeves, too? Is he is and has been... like living out his Bill and Ted destiny as himself. He's really bringing people together just by being Keanu Reeves, somewhat ethnically ambiguous. We'll claim you, Keanu. Keanu Reeves is great. He's definitely been bringing people together and living out his Ted destiny as someone who can unite all sides. He really can. Yeah, we're going to straight up claim you, Keanu. I think he's part Hawaiian. He was born in Lebanon. That's fair. We're going to take that. Yeah, guys, you guys remember the Chappelle Show when they did the race draft? That was amazing. When black people were like, yeah, we want Eminem, and we gonna give you Vanilla Ice or something like that. So, or not Vanilla, we're gonna give you, I don't know, Wayne Brady or Wayne Brady. Listen, Wayne Brady is a totally legit black person. I don't care if he was made fun of on Chappelle's Show, but he stepped up to the Chappelle Show and actually appeared on Chappelle's Show to lampoon himself, which was probably one of the best legitimizing moments in TV history. And I still follow Wayne Brady to this day. I watch his TikToks. They're pretty good. Dude is a legit entertainer. He's got a great story about when the first time he made $100,000, he framed the check after he cashed it, obviously. But he just thought this was like a life-changing amount of money, and it changed his life, and he just propelled him forward. Wayne Brady is a good example of a dude that just has it in him to entertain and doesn't want to quit. And we're going to talk about Wayne Brady today, ladies and gentlemen. The merits of Wayne Brady. Yeah. Wayne Brady is pretty great. Although I do like that line that I forget the line, so I'm not going to try it. But yeah, we're going to claim Keanu. Keanu is great. There's nobody that does not like Keanu. I have friends who are in the... I'm going to do a shout out to my other podcast called Fan Story. Check it out. Download the episode where we interview two folks that are in the show Point Break Live in Los Angeles. They got to meet the real Keanu Reeves. If you don't know what Point Break Live is, it's a show in Los Angeles that was kind of invented as a joke, but they sincerely reenacted the entire movie Point Break, or at least they condense it, live as a play. However, they cast the lead out of the audience that night. So Keanu's role goes to a lead person, a person who just volunteers in the audience to be the Keanu Reeves role. And they have to read off of cue cards the whole night. And they perform this entire play with the person from the audience that every night, and it's the most fun ever. So my friends John Maslin and Erica Zabel, they are a couple. They are both in that show. Erica Zabel plays the Lori Petty role, and John plays one of the surfer dudes, bank robber dudes. It's great. It's really fun. And yeah, go check it out. But check out that episode on the Fan Story podcast. So you can go to fanstorypodcast.com and download that episode. It's so fun because they tell their story about meeting Keanu Reeves in real life. And guess what? It does not disappoint. Keanu Reeves is great. Was Wayne Brady on The Masked Singer? I have not watched The Masked Singer yet. However, I do like singing competition shows. Generally, I watched every season of American Idol up until it got canceled or it was ended on Fox. I haven't watched them redo it yet. I haven't watched the new ones on ABC, but I did watch every season of American Idol except for the first season. I got on board the second season. I love a singing competition because you know why? It's just a person and a microphone, and then their connection to music. And if they're feeling it, if they're doing a good job, we're feeling it too. And that's just as simple as it gets. It's a very pure thing to me. However, it's very funny to me watching a lot of these singers who are up and coming artists in their own right learn how to perform on a national stage for the first time because they just are coming from meager beginnings and perhaps not that familiar with entertaining, so it's kind of throwing people right out of from the frying pan into the fire, whatever you want to say, whatever kind of analogy you want to make that illustrates how difficult it is to perform live. I find that interesting because there was one season where Chris Daughtry, y'all remember Chris Daughtry, pretty decent musician, country rock singer. He was pretty good on the show, and then there was this controversy that he had sang a live version of a song. This is a band called Live. They're from York, Pennsylvania. They sang like Selling the Drama and all those songs back in the day. I Alone, Lightning Crashes. You might remember that song. They did a cover of a song that Chris Daughtry also did that same version of their cover. He basically covered a cover, but very faithful to the live version, which was kind of a rearrangement of the original song. And the judges were like, hey, that was so great. Your version of that song was so great. Your version of that song was so great. And the next day it came out that his version was just literally a verbatim copy of the live version, the band live version, Ed Kowalczyk and them. And then it was controversial, and they were like, well, you didn't really come up with that arrangement, so we're going to take some points away. But graciously, the band Live showed up for the season finale that year to sing with Chris Daughtry on that stage, and it was pretty amazing because you were like, all right, well, it looks like they ironed that over, and Live is cool enough to come out on stage with Chris Daughtry during the season finale and sing a song with him. But all that did, interestingly enough, all that did was illustrate how incredibly seasoned Ed Kowalczyk and the band Live are at performing and singing versus a dude who was on a TV singing competition. It really, really juxtaposes what people are like when they're professional musicians who are in a band touring for 20 years versus Chris Daughtry, who is just, he looked like a scared little lamb. He came into his own music pretty well. Like, he's actually grown as a musician himself. However, watching that is funny because Live was like, all right, you gonna do a cover of our song? Well, we're gonna come out and sing with you and show you how much you got to learn to become a performer, to become good. It takes years. It takes a lot. Wayne Brady won a season ago. I didn't know you could win The Masked Singer. I just thought it was fun. It was interesting when Keanu was there filming Bill and Ted, how regular the guy he was with people, especially the family, in Slide 2. What's up, Will? Will, we were just talking about you. Did you already talk about how Daughtry turned down the Fuel guys when they saw him cover the Heart Attack song? I forget the title. Also, Ed. That's funny. Fuel, I actually know one of the singers for Fuel. I know one of the guys. There was a singer for Fuel who left. Like, he stepped in for a while. This is getting inside baseball. But the point is, it's a small Long Island band circle. I was in a small Long Island band circle with a bunch of people and then, got the F out of Long Island and came to LA. It was interesting. Ed Kowalczyk is a kind of a crass dude. Ed Kowalczyk is an interesting mixed bag of person. He's a great singer, though. I wouldn't really think too hard about his personal life. He's literally in like a religious cult and all of this stuff. But sorry guys, my battery light came on. My battery light. We only have 3 minutes left here on Instagram, so that's going to probably shut down in a couple seconds. But I want to thank you guys for joining me on Aristotle Full Throttle. These are fun. These are every day at noon. We get into it. We talk about stuff. We just chat. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I know it's the beginning of a new week. We're slowly coming out of the lockdown. We're trying to readjust to this new world where we need to be respectful of each other and actually physically show respect for each other by wearing a mask and staying 6 feet away. I wonder how I wonder, you just got to account for the fact that there are straight up sociopaths in society. Sociopath is a person who is incapable of empathy. You can train a sociopath to get better at it, but we got to just deal with it. You ever go on the highway and there's someone weaving in and out of traffic with just like wanton disregard of the safety of themselves and others? That's a sociopath or a psychopath. That's a person or a narcissist. They don't care. They don't have any ability to care about the consequences of potential disaster. They don't care. So what you got to do is protect yourself if you're not a sociopath. If you are a sociopath, good on you. I guess society kind of needs you to be like a CEO or something. I don't know what sociopaths, maybe what's a sociopath good for? I don't know. We need fewer sociopaths. So you can become one. You're not necessarily born one. And you could also be sort of trained with tools like critical thinking and empathy. I'm going to state them flatly. Chris replaced him after he hung Live out to dry. Wow. I didn't know that. I'm gonna look that up. I'm gonna Google that and see that story. I've been a fan of Live since forever. They actually broke up for about 8 years and then got back together recently, because they're all childhood friends. They've known each other since they were 12. They used to be called Public Affection when they were, the same 4 dudes have known each other since they were children. And then the singer decided, Ed Kowalczyk, here's a quick story about Ed Kowalczyk in our last minute on Instagram before Baby Yoda says goodbye. Ed Kowalczyk decided that he was doing more work than the rest of the band. So he wanted to get a singer's fee. So he wanted to get paid more than at every venue. He tried to work out a deal in the contract where he was like, well, it's me and the 3 other dudes I grew up with since we were 12. But you know what? I'm the singer and I need more money for some reason. And it doesn't make any sense, guys. You're all working there together. You're all showing up, getting paid to do your job. If you're singing and I'm playing guitar, we're doing jobs. I don't know why the singer gets more money. It doesn't make any sense, particularly in that context. Well, thank you guys for joining me on Instagram. I appreciate you. You're fantastic. You're phenomenal. Christian fronting the band, the Hershey, Pennsylvania, totally got around the building studio theater. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Good golly. 4 seconds left, and guess what? I'm not going to be able to share my Instagram because sometimes Instagram decides to fail me. I'd say 1 in 3, 1 in 4 times Instagram just decides, I don't want to save your live stream. Go F yourself. 32 people were watching over the course of that hour. That was good. Thank you very much for your viewership. Well, I'm going to sweep and mop and then look for work because right now Hollywood is figuring out how to get back to work. And while I'm looking for work, I'm also going to develop the show to the point where we can actually have thousands and thousands of viewers per day, listeners, so we can actually form a community and put out the positive vibes into the world. Real vibes. Connect with folks on a level where we could cut the crap. Cut the crap. It's a very Long Island thing to say. Technically, we say on Long Island, cut the shit. All right? Listen, I could tell you're a bullshit artist. Cut the shit. Let's get rid of bullshit artistry. I mean, you could be good at that. It's fun to watch, but, use your ability to spin. Use your abilities to be totally phony for, entertainment purposes. But we've got leadership that tries to outsmart a virus by just saying it doesn't exist. That doesn't work. You got to wear a mask. You got to wash your hands. You got to stay 6 feet away. I'm glad that we had these protests this weekend. I hope the protests for all Black Lives Matters continues. I hope the protests for Black Lives Matters and Pride continues. We need to hold up groups of people who are just not treated fairly. Fairness is what we want to do. Black superhero, I'm going to assume no one mentioned. Drum roll. Let's hear. We got some ideas for the show. Yeah, I want to see what Will is talking about, which superhero. Today we were talking about heroes. I didn't mention Nick Fury. I like that I love the career of Samuel L. Jackson. I think I'm going to follow his story. I'm going to follow his career to a T and see what he did and try to reenact it. Yeah, I don't know if we talked about any superheroes today. We were just chatting. We can bring it up tomorrow and talk about it. There's a lot of there's just a lot going on in the world, and I feel like it's hard to not talk about what's going on in the world. I did want to get to superheroes though, and actual live heroes, but I tend to ramble. I'd like to be held to task on that. I think it's fun chatting organically and mentioning stuff, but it's also good to stick to a theme. Superheroes, we just need more. I think fundamentally we do need more. We do need more in the sense that they're not like considered like the token hero. It took a while to get to Black Panther. It took a while for us to do that. There's no it's just assumed that the main heroes are Captain America and Iron Man and the Hulk and Thor. It's just assumed that those are the main heroes. But we need to show that there can be main heroes who are ones that are straight up, it doesn't really matter what their background is. They're just very good heroes with very good stories and compelling stories. Yeah, that's the thing is we have very few modern heroes, and I'll tell you who one of my heroes is, Killer Mike from Run the Jewels. I mentioned his speech the other day from Atlanta. His speech from Atlanta was what connected he was the realest. He was the realest individual I've seen throughout this whole process because he's not bogged down by the bullshit. He sits there, he comes out, and he's like, look, this is what's going on, and I'm going to call it. for real, because people seem to ignore the fact that there are other voices involved. The establishment, meaning the administration, meaning, rich, white, old folks, they're all like, everything is fine. Well, everything might be fine for you if people continue to follow your rules. But Killer Mike was just like, no, there's some ridiculous stuff going on right now. We need to fix it. And the way we do that is we organize and we organize and we protest and we talk about it and we vote. We get information, we inform each other. And that's how we're going to win this. That's how we're going to win equality, guys. It's not like there's a situation going on here where we want to take over everything. Like y'all have had control of this world this whole time. Killer Mike is out there saying, hey, guess what? It's going to be equal whether you like it or not. And you're going to have to deal with that, whether you like it or not. And that's a good thing. Because clearly nobody likes it that's in power right now. I don't know. I think our modern crisis is just that, Will. I'm going to have to go in a few minutes because I drank lots of water and coffee. Always alienated by a few black Marvel heroes. We know the Africans, not African Americans. The most Marvel heroes were from NYC. Yeah, that's kind of interesting, right? New York City being represented, Queens being represented by Peter Parker, Brooklyn being represented by Captain America. Not sure you've been to Brooklyn or Queens, but there's lots of different kinds of people there. You got people who look like this in the Bronx. If you go to the Bronx, this is the face you see. I'm not unique in the Bronx. I'm unique almost everywhere else, it feels like. But I do want to stand up for marginalized folks. That's my purpose, I'm finding. I'm finding that sharing my experience with you, sharing my personal encounters, seems to resonate. It seems to make people feel that they're not alone. It makes me definitely feel like I'm not alone because of the positive feedback I'm getting. Going, oh, well, hey, you know what? Your experience is shared. And perhaps by sharing it, sharing your pain in a funny way, and I'm not saying it's like enormous, insurmountable, just waves of crushing pain. I'm saying these are modern day annoyances, inconveniences, vexing, disconcerting problems that we should deal with. But sharing them in a way that illustrates the absurdity and the fun of it, that's the way we can move forward and say, hey guys, here's how we educate each other. When I made that TikTok about talking about people, how they could not figure out my appearance, I was illustrating how funny it is and how it's ridiculous that I should have to explain how I look. Luke Cage, that was a pretty cool show. Ex-con trope Fallon. Yeah, you know what? It's interesting how I would love to see Black Batman. You know what I mean? Privileged. Like highly educated, highly trained, highly moral. No explanation. They just happen to be black. That doesn't mean anything. You know, we've got Black Batman in Black Panther. Leader of a nation, the most technologically advanced nation on Earth. Member of the UN. This is what we need. We need heroes that can, Cyborg is cool, but again, Cyborg, star athlete, I wonder what if you took like a Captain America character, what the dynamic would be like that for that. Like a guy who's kind of a weakling who becomes a very strong guy, hero. Because of his character. His character is just so fundamentally good that they make him a superhero. Have they ever done that with a black character? I wonder. Mr. Terrific. Batman's pretty smart. They did in the Arrow TV version. Yes, please explain, Will. Yeah, I do. I'm definitely a I don't know if it's like the diaspora of something. My African roots are from Western Africa and Southern Africa. I have 3% genes from Southern Africa and like 31% genes from Cameroon-ish side of Africa. My genes come from there because my father's Dominican. And guess what? If you go from West Africa up to the United States, you get to stop at the Caribbean, which is where a lot of black people were dropped off over the last few hundred years and intermingled with Native American and European folks, which is what you get when you get the Dominican Republic. When you have people from the Dominican Republic, that's what you got. And that's who my father is. There's a guy named Rage whose kids doused him with radiation who becomes a hulking grown man. That's cool. I'd like to be that. I feel like growing a beard is my superpower. That's what I got going for me. Guys, I really have to pee. But I'm holding it. I'm holding it because I want to see what Will has to say. I've got maybe 90 seconds left in me. Plus 30 seconds because, 30-second delay. I do appreciate you guys joining me. I am a fan. You know what? I'm gonna go, but I'm gonna hang out in the chat for a couple extra minutes because I really have to pee. Thank you guys for joining me. I'm Aristotle, Full Throttle. Your bro in the know with the fro who has to pee. I appreciate you, and I'm gonna chat with you guys via text in the next couple minutes because I'm gonna run.